Hey guys, what's going on? I just wanted to make a video on how to use credit cards responsibly. I know a lot of people have negative views on them and don't really know how to use them responsibly, but there's actually a way you can use it to benefit you. I remember there was a time where at a certain point I was thinking about which credit cards to apply for. And I knew I wanted one to start out with, but as time went on, I wanted to apply for more and kind of have a variety of different credit cards, which I will tell you how that can benefit you in the future. But at this time, when I was talking about it, I was asking my mom about it because I didn't really have any information on it, and she was kind of pushing me away and telling me, hey, right now it's not a good time to get a credit card because you don't want to be in debt. You don't want to build up debt that you have to pay back. And obviously if you have a huge amount of money that you owe to a credit card company or just somebody in general, it might be hard or it might take a long time to pay them back, and that's one less worry that you really don't want to have in life. So I think I got my first credit card in college, actually. So I'm in college now. I'm a junior at the University of Miami and I'm 20 years old. I think the first time I got my credit card or a credit card was maybe freshman year of college, so just 2 years ago. And at the time, that's when I was looking to find the best one for me. But at the time, I didn't have any credit. So credit score basically tells lenders how credit worthy you are. So it tells lenders how likely you are to pay your debt back or pay your, for example, your credit card bill or statement back. It tells them how likely you are to do that. But if you're somebody with no credit or you haven't had any credit history, or for example me, I didn't have any credit history before because I didn't have a mortgage on the house or anything like that. My phone was under my my parents' name. I didn't have a car at the time. I didn't have anything like that that would kind of build my credit. So when you're at a point where you don't really have any credit, you don't have anything established, it's kind of hard to apply for a credit card. So there's something called a secure credit card, which a lender or a credit card company might give to you. And it's basically a credit card where they just give you a limit like any other credit card, and it'll be a small limit just because they don't really know how responsible you are. They don't know how likely you are to pay back. So they just want to kind of test you out. And if you, maybe after 3 months or 6 months, they might boost your credit limit. Maybe it might be $300 a month to $600. So when I was at the point where I was trying to find a credit card, I actually found one through Capital One. And I think they gave me a very small limit. I think it was $250 a month, which is really small for a credit card, or just in general. It's a small number. I didn't have any benefits, no rewards. I didn't get any cash back, or I didn't get any rewards as in, hey, spend $100 and you get another 100 back, where some credit card companies do give you rewards like that. Maybe initially when you apply, they'll be like, hey, if you apply now, we'll give you $150 after 3 months of spending. And that's what I did. I got a secure credit card at first because I had no other choice. So yeah, so my first credit card was a secure credit card, and like I said, they gave me maybe $250, no rewards, nothing that would actually benefit me. So the Capital One credit card that I first got is actually this one right here. I'm not gonna show the number, of course. So after a couple months of using that the Capital One credit card, they actually boosted my limit. So I think it went from 250 to 600. So it more than doubled. So I really never used the full limit, even though $600 is a smaller limit than compared to what I have now. Before I got a credit card, I just had purchases that I made, consistently. So maybe it would be a coffee every day, or something gas for a car, or So I never used the full limit. I just used, what I needed. So I made a list of, the things that I buy every month, no matter what. So it could be, necessities that I need from the grocery store, or, things like my phone bill that, I have to pay every month, or a haircut. Things that you would purchase or pay for regardless. So those are the things that I put in my credit card. I didn't, buy, a new TV, or a new laptop, or a new camera, or, I didn't just go spending for fun. I just paid for what I would have paid for normally, and that's what I put on my credit card. And, each month I would pay it off because I would have paid for it anyway, So I would grab my debit card, I would pay for it through my bank account, and I'll go back to, a zero balance, and I'll do it each month. And that's why the credit card company, gave me a bigger spending limit. They knew I was using it responsibly. They knew I was paying back their what they lended to me. And while I was doing that, it actually boosted my credit score. So it allowed me to apply for more credit cards that actually, benefited me. And to get an idea of what like a credit score is, it'll range from, around 300 to 850. So if you had, a credit score in the 800s, which is a really hard thing to achieve, but of course it is possible, that would mean you have excellent credit. Usually starting out, if you don't really have credit, a number that they would give you may be around like 500 or something like that, and it would be in the red area, which would mean you have bad credit, and all you can do is go up from there. So you can, build your credit, and before you know it, after a few months, you might reach fair, and then after that, you'll have a good credit score if you keep doing it, using it responsibly. And like I mentioned before, other things like a mortgage or a car payment, those things can boost your credit as well, but not really everybody needs to go out and buy a house right now, or buy a car. It's easier to get a credit card and just use it to buy things that you would buy normally. And that would benefit you because you're actually building your credit by just doing something you would have done anyway. So these are just a few credit cards that I do have right now. I have a couple more. I think I have one or two in the car, and I actually just applied for one yesterday, so that's coming in the mail. The next credit card that I got after the Capital One was a Discover card, and this is a Discover Student IT card, that's what it's called. They give you 2% cash back on like restaurants and gas purchases, and then 1% back on everything else. And it's not really much, but it is nice to get something back for just buying stuff that you would regularly. So instead of just paying with your debit card and buying your cup of coffee, you can actually get cash back on buying your cup of coffee with a credit card. And Discover actually is nice because they give you, they double your cash back throughout the first year. So for example, in the first year, if you make like say $200 in cash back, they actually give you another $200. So that'll make it $400 for the year. Right after that, I think I got this Chase Freedom one, and what they did was they give you 2% cash back on gas purchases and restaurant purchases, I think, as well. They also have quarters where they'll give you 5% back on maybe gas or restaurant, depending on like which retailers they work with in that quarter. They'll give you 5% that time. So each quarter it'll change from different businesses to corporations. They did something else nice that I liked, and which kind of lured me in to applying for the credit card, and it was, I think, it was spend $500 in the first 3 months and we'll give you $150. They can transfer that into your bank account, or you can just use it to toward your statement and just pay off your statement for that month. I thought that was really nice, and it was basically free money. I spent $500, which I normally would have, and I got $150 back just for spending $500. And other credit card companies do that. the first 3 months, or it depends on each credit card. They might have different promotions where they'll give you free money just for having a credit card and using it. So if you're somebody that's using it responsibly, that will actually benefit you because it's giving you money that you wouldn't have gotten if you were to use cash or a debit card. Where it really won't work to benefit you is if you say you went and used a credit card just to, rack up, purchases and just make a bunch of really purchases that you don't need. And you're thinking, hey, I'm gonna get cash back for this, or I'm just doing the promotion and I'm getting money back for it. But really that's not gonna benefit you because you might be just buying a lot of stuff that you don't need, and the money that they're giving back to you doesn't really add up to what you're spending. So you're spending a whole lot of excess money that you might not have, or you might just not need to spend, and that's where it's not benefiting you. And then sometimes people, just add up a lot of money on their credit card and they don't think about it, and then when it comes time to pay for it, they don't have enough money to pay their bill. So for me, I paid my bill before the due date in full. That way I don't owe the credit card company any money. It doesn't push over to the next month's statement, and it doesn't add interest. And that's where a lot of people get stuck on. When companies, credit card companies, add interest to your, statements or what you owe to them, that's now where you're paying even more money out of pocket just for borrowing the credit card company's money. Interest is where kind of credit cards make their money, because, or the banks that they work with, because they will charge you interest on top of what you owe them, meaning you're gonna owe them more than what you even used. So say you bought like a new a camera for $100, let's say, and you didn't pay that statement, you didn't pay that bill, you didn't pay that credit card company for that camera. Now they're adding another $20, another 20% to that 100, making the camera actually be $120. That's $120 coming out of your pocket, even more money than what it costs to buy that camera per se. So really, all in all, the point of this video is to just encourage you to use credit cards wisely. You can have more than one. I have like 5 or 6 right now, and I only use like 2 max a month. So I'm not gonna use all 5 or 6 each month. I'm gonna use, usually only 1 at a time. That way I can keep track and remember what I owe, and that way I don't forget a bill. And over the last 2 years, I've actually seen my my credit score really grow. So I think it went up like 200 points from when I first started out. It does kind of, grow up really slowly, gradually, but it's definitely worth it. I actually made money from all those credit cards because the promotions and the cash back. I didn't ever pay any interest. I never was late. I never let the credit card companies, find the right to charge me more than I spend. I don't let them add interest onto my account. That way I don't owe them any more money that I've used. Right now it's actually Christmas time, so I used all of my, end of the year reward points and cash back. I added that all up for the end of the year. I cashed out on it, and I was actually able to buy everyone in my family gifts using the money that I just made from, spending in general. So I think the biggest point that I want to just spread out is that if you just use it responsibly, don't spend more than you would have with a debit card or cash. If you pay it back on time and keep track of what you're spending on, don't make any purchases out of instinct or just because you want something new and you think that since you have a high credit limit, there's no problem. That's where you kind of get stuck, and that's where credit card companies, they want you to do that because that's how they're going to make their money. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this video now. I hope that I kind of shared some knowledge that I had for people who didn't know about credit cards or how they work, or wasn't sure on how to apply for it or how to find the right one. This is going to be on YouTube, so if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below and I'll try to answer them. So with that being said, I just hope you guys have a great holiday. Christmas is coming up in a couple of days, and New Year's. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And my biggest wish is just for everyone to have a great year, 2020. And I hope you guys are responsible, and best wishes towards everybody. Thanks.